A bit sharp, sorry, the other day.
Talk about when we 22 again. Yeah, let's go. Yeah. You should be able to
I can't get Gary up there. Don't know why I can't get the little screen up. Well, still. Don't put Gary's in. No, can't get the space there.
What's the concept?
So I minimise that. The agenda just
I don't think people must be needed.
no. And actually, it's quite sort
That's the most expensive.
What I do, number two and number three, because we need to acknowledge that we're not the new candidate. Would you acknowledge it? And then if I want to jump in, we have a bit today. And then we can go to actually do the declarations of interest. And then when we get to pension and
Okay, well, welcome everyone. Really pleased we've got so many people here. So many people are going to work with the council in the future, have worked in the past or are working currently with the council. So welcome everyone. I was just thinking that in terms of the councillors here, this is probably the only time we'll meet as a particular group. So let's make it a special meeting. Okay. Just a few words. So just to remind you that this meeting is being recorded. And council staff are fine tuning the live streaming, so you'll be able to watch it on YouTube tomorrow. If you have a mobile phone, please turn it on silent, particularly Councillor Morgan.
Already, Bill.
Now, we want to turn Councillor Morgan on silent, don't matter about his phone.
I could say so. In terms of standing orders, there's something in there about that you've always got to stand up. So what I'm suggesting is that if it's difficult standing up, but it's very, very hard, and you just want to speak, there's no requirement to stand up for the future. And I'm going to move the agenda back a little bit so that people who have come for a special item, we will deal with those first. But the main thing tonight is to invite Dan Marsh. If you could come forward, Dan, great. So I'm delighted to honour and present Mr. Dan Marsh with the title of Honorary Freewoman of Wimborne Minster. So that's a really big achievement in recognition of her exceptional contribution to our community in terms of her volunteering and town council work over the last 40 years, including the Allendale Community Centre, the Riding for Disabled Association, Local Repair Cafe, Citizen Advice, Vernon and Ushland Ford Twinning Associations, Wimborne Drama Group and Wimborne Musical Society. Dan was a town councillor, town mayor and chairman. She attended 82 events and played a pivotal role in reviewing and shaping our civil protocol policies and progressing our partnership work with Wimborne Minster. Her tireless efforts and community spirit make her a truly deserving candidate for this prestigious honour. So, would you like to just...
Awarded this because it is very special and not many people do get it. And it has actually been an honour of the things that I have done for the town. But I would say, and some people in here would agree with me, the proudest achievement I have had was saving part of our footpath from Cuffbury allotments. If it wasn't the Save Wimborne Minster footpaths that I sort of chaired and brought along, we would not have kept the length of the footpath that went out Calgrove Road. Because 3 times Mr. Wright kept that section in to be in the gardens of those houses, and 3 times we would not let it go. And in the end, we didn't need the footpath. So we don't have to, when it is flooded there, we can still get out onto Calgrove Road. So I want to thank everybody who joined me in that, public meetings, you name it, we did it. Thank you so much. And I'm sure the people, when they realise how much work we put into it, they will appreciate each time they walk along that section of foot. Otherwise, thank you so much. It was a real honour.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to item 2, which is the result of the town council election nomination process. Luke.
So, just for everyone's information, we have a new elected councillor with us tonight, Mr. John Billington. John signed his declaration of office form with me, so he is now a councillor on the town council to take part in all council business. Welcome, John.
Thank you.
We have confirmation from Dorset Council that we will be holding an election for Wimborne Minster Town Ward on the 8th of March. We have August. I don't know where March came from. seven nominees, 6 spaces. So we're doing a bit of PR around that. But yes, that's the update.
Okay, so really welcome, John. Thank you very much for joining the council. Okay, declaration, yes. Sorry, councillor.
Just can we move the notice in the public notice board in the square, because you can't actually read the names.
So we've changed today.
On one when I went down at midday.
No, it changed this afternoon. We've got a new notice.
Couldn't read
It's changed,
what.
it changed this afternoon.
That's fine.
Great, very, very useful point, thank you. Thank you. Okay, item 3, declaration of acceptance of office. That's you, Lou.
Thanks, Shane's got.
Shane.
Chairman, if I use one as the Dorset, board member, please.
Yeah, okay. Apologies for absence.
So we have apologies from councillor, he unfortunately is ill with COVID, which he got from his children. And we've got a couple of apologies just from our regular attendees who would report, our ward councillor, DC Andy Todd, and representatives from the police.
Thank you. So thanks, yeah. Bartlett.
Thank you, Chairman. Just it's protocol really. Councillor Pat, former Councillor Pat Hymers, who's a frequent saying, sent her apologies. She's got family down, she couldn't make it, otherwise she would have been here to support Diane for her award.
Lovely, thank you.
So we did a total second before then.
So can we have a proposal for Will's apology? Yes, Simon. Wheeler. And a second there. Councillor Morgan. Yeah. Okay. All in favour? Thank you. Okay, and then in terms of Councillor Bartlett declared his declaration of interest. I've got one to declare because I'm a director of Planet Wimborne. Later on, we're going to hear from them, so I will actually leave the room during that discussion, so I can't sully the discussion. Okay, public participation. So we're going to move on to the grant applications. So we've had 4 people who've applied for grants. The first one was the community garden, and you've had all the details, councillors. Councillor Morgan, do you want to say a word about that one?
Sure, I think
So we do have a representative from the guard as well. If we've got any questions, you can ask Jay. James here. So it's a bit.
Jane, do you want to just say a word?
Well, I'd like to say that we would be very appreciative if there is a chance of getting this grant, because we are looking to put on an event at Christmas, and the event is to raise funds for the garden. We have been really incredibly lucky with the garden, getting money for several big projects in the garden, like a polytunnel, like a fruit cage, for which we are very grateful. However, trying to keep up with the money side of it for things like the compost that we don't make ourselves, for getting new wheels on wheelbarrows, for getting the can of gas to make cups of tea, because that's how we have to do it at the moment. All of that takes a lot of money, as do the seeds and so on. And if we can raise money to enable us to do that, the standard that we set ourselves for the garden can be maintained. So that's why we put our bid in.
Thank you very much. The councillors want to comment? Okay, so we've yes, Councillor Bartlett.
Yeah, just that I'm going to support this application. I think the community garden's done a fantastic job in the community, brought a lot of people together. It's given an opportunity for people to come together in a social experience, and prevent that sort of isolation in some people's lives. And I think these are the sort of projects we should be supporting in our community. I think it's a fantastic effort, and they've done a tremendous job down there. So it's support it.
And also, I'm appreciative of the support you're giving to Bowcroft College. It's just starting, got a real good link there, haven't you, Jane? Okay, so second that. So should we take a vote? All those in favour of that grant?
Take granting for yes. Okay.
Granting for. Okay, now the next one is Planet Wimborne. As I'm a director, I'm going to leave you to chair this. Thank you very much.
And we've got Lee, who's also here to answer any questions.
Good evening. Good evening. Yes, I'm one of the directors of Planet Wimborne. Thank you very much indeed for considering our application for a grant. This is for our annual Green Festival, and you very kindly supported us last year, and hopefully some of you experienced the Green Festival last year, and it was a real major success. We brought in lots of people into the town and we had lots of events during the week. We've already got a very packed programme leading up to the festival itself, as well as events all the way through the week. And this year we've also got sustainable transport included as well on the 2 Saturdays. So we've again extended and built on. So the money that you provide for us really helps to deliver a better festival for the town, and hopefully again brings more people into the town and also helps with the town's green credentials.
So I'd like to support this one. We've started a school council, and Planet Wimborne came along and did a presentation, and the feedback from the youth at that school council was that the environment, ecology was something that was high on their priority list. So from that perspective, and thinking about the world is for the youth of tomorrow. We are their future, and the decisions that we make today obviously affect them. I'm happy to propose that we accept the grant. Councillor Barrett.
Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, I'm happy to second this proposal. I'm not wishing to get shot down. I think I might have.
I think you did.
Yeah, that's okay. Planet Wimborne have grown something of a monster. They've got, I don't know how many different 20-odd groups, I think, now below them. Created a community trading, a community interest company. It's been hugely successful, and again, as with the community development, it's the sort of thing we need within our town, within our society now. We all know that local government finances are really strapped for cash. The funding isn't there in local government. So these volunteer groups become even more now the benefit they bring within our communities. And we should always be supporting our volunteers within our communities. So I'm fully happy to second this. Chairman.
Councillor Barrett, would you want to say something else, or and shoot up and keep that down?
Well, no, I was just going to be, the chairman prepared to second it. But I was just going to ask one question. I see the address is Allendale House. Should it be Allendale House, or is it Allendale Community Centre?
No, it's Allendale House. It's the registered address for the community interest company. So when we set the business up, we use Allendale House as our registered address.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we have a proposal, we have a second there. All those in favour? Thank you. Would somebody like to get councillor? Should we count?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So the third bit we've got is from the New Life Community Church. Is anybody here to speak that bit? Yes. What's your name?
My name's Helen Stevens, and I'm a trustee at New Life Community Church.
Lovely. Would you like to say a few words?
So again, really appreciate the opportunity to come speak to you about this project. It's at the very start of life, really. It's little butts. The church currently is using the United Reformed premises in Chapel Street here in Wimborne. This is different to a mums and toddlers group, it's mums and babies, and as has already been alluded to, statutory services are cash strapped to provide any initiatives around early help, particularly for new mums, breastfeeding mums, and those that are adjusting to parenthood and motherhood in the early stages. We also know from research that that bond between parent, mother and child, particularly infants, helps to secure really strong attachments, which helps children develop really strong emotional resilience as they progress and develop into life. And it's been clinical research that proves the foundational importance of those first 2 years of life. It's also a community project that is linking with other projects in Wimborne. So the Wimborne Food Bank is one of its partner agencies where they cross-refer. So if there's a new mum needing help from the food bank, they can be referred across the little buds in Wimborne. And again, all of the support that's coming through the food bank in Wimborne, little buds can refer those mums that need that extra support, perhaps with a food voucher or citizens advice lost to that. So it's a new initiative. It's meeting a real need that isn't met now statutorily for reducing isolation as well and loneliness for new mums.
Thank you very much. Councillors.
It's just a question for clarity. Wimborne Food Bank, you're referring to one that's at, through your chair, sorry, referring to one that's at, Light Park at the Beverly Dale.
Yes, yeah. In my part.
That's it, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Any other comments? Councillor Roberts?
I was just going to say, Chairman, I wish they had something like this when I was a new mum, because I lived on Buckler's Harbour Estate as a new mum, and everyone around me was at work, and I was there with a small infant, not knowing my way around Wimborne at all, because I only moved in the April and I had my son in the October, and it would have been a blessing to me to go and meet other mums.
Thank you. Any other comments?
You need a second.
No, we haven't proposed yet.
I thought, can you propose?
No, you have to question. So, Councillor Burke, just a comment from. Carry on. Sorry, carry on. I think it's going to.
Well, I was just going to propose that we accept this grant.
Okay. Councillor Morgan?
Well, I wasn't going to second it. So I think it sounds like a great project. And I do agree that they serve a great purpose. But I do have some issues with, I think there's about 120,000 of unreserved funds available. And I also see that the organisation gives grants, and they're two of our criteria for not awarding a grant ourselves.
So in terms of the grant, making a grant, the fact is the advice of the accountant as a faith-based organisation and a church. It is important for the church congregation that they support overseas missions in terms of the promotion of the Christian faith. It doesn't make grants in the sense of applying to a committee and that being through a process. It's how the accountants account with giving of the church to specifically Christian mission overseas and locally a charity, Christian charity in Bingwood Active Sharing. I believe that there has been correspondence between the administrator of the church and the grants committee and the town council here in terms of the restricted funding. It would come in as a restricted fund only to be used for this purpose, and it would be ring-fenced on the accounts in the software package.
Thank you. And further, Councillor Morgan.
Yeah, so I know the unrestricted funds are £120,000 for all told. And I'm also mindful that only 20% of the people, according to the statistics, are actually from Wimborne. So whether it has the impact is fully felt by Wimborne residents is, in my mind, up the question.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay, so we've got Councillor Bartlett.
Chairman, I fully take on board what Councillor Morgan has said. It's one of those strange anomalies that we have in the way we structure in this country that Wimborne was known as a market hub town, which obviously the other communities around us feed into it. And often we find this situation where the residents of Wimborne are a proportion of those beneficiaries or burdens, as it may be, as the case may be. And the other outlying parish councils, their residents benefit from it usually. It's a conversation that we keep on saying we're going to have about asking our outlying communities, those parish councils, to help carry the burden now within financing and local government and paying something towards the hub towns. The classic case that comes up is always the Citizen Advice Bureau, that we pay the lion's share for that. And quite often it's other communities, other hamlets, other villages that take benefit from it. And I appreciate what Councillor Morgan is saying, but I think in this instance, I am minded to step into the application that's on the table. I think the conversation that we had afterwards is ongoing in the future. And I know the church does have some ways in which it deals with its money at times, which is probably within local government, it's foreign to us in the way that we deal with it. We have to protect the public first. But in this instance, on this occasion, I'm happy to second it. I think there is a conversation going on in the future to be had. But at the moment, I think it brings benefit to a sector of our residents who have been struggling with the cost of living crisis. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Any other comments?
Yes, the bit that I'm concerned about is the £120,000 in the account. Because we are going to bust our budget in terms of grant applications this year if we don't do it tonight. So I'm not sure how to support this when there's already money there, given I take on board Councillor Bartlett's. We do have this conversation with, your how do you know that you're supporting the people of Wimborne? Now we seem to be able to go, well, it's kind of okay if we support people outside of Wimborne. So just concerned that there's a lot of money in that charity, and we will put ourselves into a deficit on that budget by applying this grant. It's not really a question, it's more a comment, really.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Richmond.
Thank you, Chairman. I support what Councillor Morgan said. I'd also noticed that combining with Coal Hill, it was probably less than 30%. But I also accept what Councillor Bartlett has said. So I was just a little concerned.
Okay. Any other comments? Councillor Lawrence.
Can I ask, have you gone out to any of the local parishes around?
For funding?
Yeah.
Not that I'm aware of, no, not to the individual parishes. All I can say is it's only in its infancy as a project, and it's still establishing here in Wimborne, and we'd like the funding to be able to extend the service that's just started. It's only been in the last 12 or so months to get that really established here in Wimborne for Wimborne families. I hear what's being said, and I can take that back to.
In fact, in your paper, the portion from other areas is higher than Wimborne, isn't it?
Initially, yes, yeah. We're trying to get it established more.
Councillor Burt.
Well, Chairman, I'll just comment on this business about Wimborne people and people around. Now, I was born in Wimborne. I don't live in Wimborne. I go to church in Wimborne, but I still live in Porthmullen. I went to school in Wimborne. I went to the youth club in Wimborne 70 years or more ago. We shouldn't just think of ourselves on the tight parish boundaries. We do move between the parishes that are around us, and I think it's only right and proper that that should happen. I know we often say, try the other parishes and town councils as well, and that does happen. But we must accept the fact that there are a lot of people who come into Wimborne, who use the shops in Wimborne. I won't say the pubs because I don't, but the coffee bars, and places of that nature. And so we should look to be prepared that there are people around the immediate neighbourhood outside the parish of Wimborne Minster that do come into the town, and therefore we should support that.
Thank you. Town clerk question. How much are they bidding for?
So if you scroll down, I can show you from the, and keep going. So, no, right here. So scroll down a bit more. So they're asking for £1,440.
And legally, can we vote on that full amount, or can we change the amount?
You can do whatever you want. Yes,
A proposal was made, then, was it not?
it was.
And seconded.
Yeah, so you need to have that unless there's someone wants to come in with them.
Okay, does anyone want to come with a counter proposal? Okay, so we've got a proposal on the table. All those in favour, please show your hand. And those against?
And can you confirm the abstentions, please?
Abstention. Thanks. One abstention.
Only voting.
I urge you. Division favour.
Sorry. How the abstentions?
How does that work?
You have the casting vote, Mr Chairman.
Okay, on this occasion, I'm not going to allow that grant to go forward, but for several reasons that have been raised in our preparation meeting, some of the senior councillors were concerned about the amount of money already in the pot, as it were, concerned that there's a massive need for this in the area and which we could do towards that. Versus, I think maybe we would look at a smaller figure. It's also much bigger than the other grants we're giving. And we did talk in the meeting about perhaps we should have a maximum of £1,000. We've only got a very small budget, 28,000. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, final one is from the Allendale Community Centre. I think it's for pantomime tickets for children who would find that very beneficial. Any comments from any? Yes,
Thank you.
Mrs. Chetty.
Standing here as a trustee and vice chair of the Allendale Community Centre, which is of course a charity, and Johnson Civic, who's also trustee and secretary. You've supported us in the past, and we've been extremely grateful for that. As a grant application details, this is for needy families in the area in Wimborne. They are drawn from a mixture of both the Allendale food supply and also the food bank at Lyme. So it's a partnership working with them for both types of families. As I might have mentioned in the application, our reserves for this type of organisation are extremely modest, particularly compared to some other charities in town. The benefit is for local families that otherwise some of the children would have no entertainment for Christmas, no presents. It might be the sense of a Christmas carol, but these children then have something to go to school about, talk to their peers about, that they've been, that they've experienced, they've seen Father Christmas, they've had a photo, they've had a present, and they've had entertainment. I was slightly dubious about the show, but I went out to it. It was really good, actually. And the kids loved it. So I thought I ought to go as a trustee and see what it was like. We've got disabled access, there's facilities for a show that's signed, there are some contributions by the Allendale as well. And I'm not sure I can say much more really than to say how worthwhile it is for the children.
Thanks very much.
Any questions, please just ask.
Okay, so questions for Mrs. Chetty? Any comments from councillors? I personally think this is a really worthwhile one. Yeah, Councillor Moore.
Yeah, I mean, this is something I think we've been funding for the last couple of years at least. I have it on good authority that it is a fantastic day out for the children, and I think this is exactly the sort of people we should support it. So I have no problems with this.
Got a second that? Councillor Bartlett.
It's not a second, and it's a comment. The Allendale Centre is run as basically, it's almost a commercial enterprise, really. I know it's set as a charity, but it runs an awful lot of concerts. There's a lot of ticket sales. I would imagine it's running at a bit of a silly bit of profit. I'm surprised that they're not actually funding this within themselves. So I'm struggling to support the trend.
Okay, thank you. Mrs. Chetty.
I think if you compare the Allendale to other big charities in town, it's a very unfair thing to say it's run as a business when it's a charity. Our reserves are low for the turnover that we have each year, and they're pitifully low. Yes, we charge high fees. Yes, we have concerts, but we need to be able to pay staff and we need to pay for electricity and gas. To say that we're running as a business, and when you look at the accounts and you look at the profit figures in the accounts, is totally wrong. We're supported by the Charity Commission. There are no queries from the Charity Commission. There's no queries from our auditors. And to suggest that we're a business when you look at the Tivoli, they sell tickets, they put on shows. The museum puts on shows, they sell tickets. have a cafe, and Tivoli has a bar. They're some of the main charities in town. I don't see those same comments being directed against them.
Thank you. Councillor.
I'll go back to that, Chairman. They don't come to us for a grant. They actually run their events within house, and that's what I'm saying is that the Oakdale Centre can structure their finances within that charity organisation and establish a pool of money that would pay for this sort of show that they're going to put on. So I've got concerns around that.
Made a point. Councillor Wheeler?
So I'm happy to second. I went to this last year because I was intrigued to see what happens. And for me, given in the backdrop of what's happened sadly to the children in the north of our country, the children need something.
I think Councillor Willie, you need to declare either a peculiar or not peculiar interest, if you have an interest within the angle.
Okay. Yeah.
Just for your own sake.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. I went to the event. I was a ticket payer. Went there, had a look at it. Actually took my daughter with me, and to see the joy on the children's faces was, for me, it made sense. It's a lovely thing to be done for the children of Wimborne, and I kind of wholeheartedly support doing things for children.
Okay, so any further comments before we take a vote? Okay, so we've got a proposal, we've got a second there. All those in favour? All those against? Any abstentions? Okay, that's carried. Okay, we're then going to move on to QE Leisure Centre, and the thing we've got representatives here, and this is to consider a request from a member of the public to submit a joint statement from the following district parishes about the centre was closing Queen Elizabeth Leisure Centre. And you've seen this is quite hot in the news locally at the moment. Have we got somebody from QE Leisure Centre here?
We have some members of the public who are representing a group that sorted out the petition, actually.
All right. Want to say a word?
First of all, separate subject, fantastic you're recording the meeting. Action line. Regarding QE, you're probably aware that a petition was organised, Rebecca here was one of the organisers, which raised 7,000 signatures, which triggers a debate at Dorset Council. Only the second time it's ever happened at Dorset Council, because Dorset Council's trigger threshold is higher than most councils in the country. And I think it's the biggest petition they've ever received. It's now gone, following that on the 18th of July, it's been referred to Cabinet for further discussion. I wrote an email to all the town and parish councils in the area, several towns, several parishes, requesting a joint statement. Actually, what's happened now, one of the councils has already met and agreed to put together a statement. But they want to do it on their own because they say if all the councils put in an individual statement, it probably has more impact than a joint statement. I was just trying to make it easier for everyone. The idea is just to remind Dorset Council for the cabinet meeting how important the leisure centre is to the town, all the parishes surrounding it, the youth in Wimborne, the elderly in Wimborne, people with broken backs like me, and how important it would be to get it back open to the public. Dorset Council's concern has always been that it costs them £500,000 a year. I've put in several freedom of information requests, which Will, who isn't here, has seen the results of. And they kind of show that actually QE Leisure Centre could well be in profit, not in loss, by a considerable amount of money, £230,000 a year, rather than £500,000 loss. But that's irrelevant to Wimborne. We're not asking Wimborne to contribute any money, just to say, put forward a statement, if you're willing to say how much it's missed as a public leisure centre and that you would support it being reopened. Incidentally, the previous petition that broke the 5,000 mark was debated today at Dorset Council in a scrutiny committee that Councillor Arthur was at. So those petitions do get the ball rolling. there.
Okay,
And I think Rebecca wants to talk about
Rebecca, yeah.
other impacts.
Yes, that we've realised that the equality impact assessment perhaps wasn't done as well as it should have been done. So, and just in a discussion had with Councillor Wheeler a while ago, and from the various stations that we've got here so far, realising what an impact it's had on youth, as well as we've looked at the impact on stables, and really if you could also get the youth council on board and showing support, because there are hundreds of Wimborne youth that lost the use of that legislation. So.
Well, we have got a school council meeting coming up and we're going to raise it with them to get their support. I think in the past we've been very supportive about your campaign generally. I think at the pre-meeting, the question is really, are you looking for a letter that goes into specific detail or just a general letter of support?
I think a general letter of support, just to remind Dorset Council how important it is. Because when it opened in 1976, it was part funded by the people of Wimborne, who, so it was funded by the then, well, it became East Dorset District Council, but the Urban District Council, then that became another council, then blah, blah, the County Council, and members of the public, who had a fair stake out of it, was sold to people. So it is part of, I know it's in a different place, but it is really part of the heart of Wimborne, and has been for a long time.
Councillor Bartlett, do you want to add to the debate?
Yeah, I was going to speak. So this is one of those occasions where I declare that non-pecuniary interest as a Dorset councillor. When the notification come through from QE Leisure Centre, well, basically from Initio, the academy actually, and Dorset Council, the Dorset Council were going to pull out the agreement. And there was an exit date that was established. And I was the one that organised 2 meetings of the stakeholders, community groups that were still interested to be able to use the leisure centre. And we had two good and positive meetings. But at that point, Initio weren't willing to have discussions. But my understanding is now that has changed, and Initio would like to coordinate, have discussions with Dorset Council. So there will be an ongoing discussion around that with officers and Initio getting into the room to establish what may come about in the future. That's as much as I know at the moment. But as I say, Chairman, I do have to declare that non-pecuniary interest because I was involved. When it came up at Dorset Council, I had to actually leave the chamber because of my involvement in it today, and because that is a decision-making authority. Thank you.
It does really cheer my heart that this can be resolved really. Hannah Small is involved with the group I'm in, who's been very articulate about, particularly disabled people losing out now. But the time to speak.
Earlier I mentioned Councillor Chapalato will send his apologies, but he sent me a quick email because he knew this item was coming on the agenda, and he said he supports the petition as a local councillor with the 7,000 signatures. He knows it was debated, as Councillor Bartlett said, at Dorset Council, and he understands the financial challenges, but hopes that Dorset Council can find a sustainable way forward for the growing community.
Okay. Any further on this?
We need a proposal seconder just to support that as writing the letter.
Chairman, if I could just come back, just so that the members are aware, this came before my, I missed the time now, before my scrutiny committee, when I chaired the Place and Resources Scrutiny Committee at Dorset Council, and we were looking at a paper, 12-month review of the Redland Centre in Weymouth. Similar circumstances where Weymouth Technical College have decided they could no longer run the leisure there, basically handed the keys back to Dorset Council. A community interest group, Dorset, they come forward and asked if they could run the leisure centre, the Redlands Leisure Centre in Weymouth. With that, Dorset Council put some money towards that, put officer resource towards it, and that's proved to be hugely successful. And throughout these conversations, as Mr. Lonsdale knows, is my view and others' view that actually the Redlands model could work at QE. If those members of the public, those stakeholder groups come forward and form themselves into a group to take on the QE Leisure Centre. Whether that is what Initio want, we don't know, but that was a route that could have been done, but we never got. that point.
Yeah.
So we're going to see what pans out in the future. But what I'm basically saying to you is there is a model out there, it's only 30 miles down the road, that has proved to be hugely successful. The difference is it doesn't have a pool, but I think the problems around that are unsurmountable.
Just to add another point really, my background is education. So Initio Multi-Academy Trust is a group. Their job is to raise the standards in the schools. And they've got about 30 schools and members. That's their primary purpose. So they would have been quite thrown by this really, I think really, but it's good that you're getting good communication with them. Councillor Richmond, then Councillor Burt.
Thank you, Chairman. I just want to thank Mr Lonsdale and Rebecca for all the work they've done to keep it in the public eye. It's always a little bit of a disappointment when the decision was made to originally close it. And when we discussed this some time ago, at around the time of the consultation, Dorset Council consultation, we did say at that time that we should send a letter to support the retention of it. And I think it's not a lot that Mr Lonsdale is asking for us to simply send a letter of support. So I'd be 100% on proposing that or seconding it.
Seconding it, Councillor Burt.
Well, for me, Chairman, it seems quite simple. All we're being asked to do is to support that. We're not being asked for any money. It's always been run at a loss ever since the day it started. And at the district council, the urban district council finished in 1973, 74. So it was the district council that was responsible for it, Wimborne district, which later became East Dorset district. And it was 40% supported by the district and 60% by Dorset County Council. Now, fortunately or unfortunately, and I think quite a number of people here know my views, because I fought against having a unitary authority. When it became a unitary authority, the whole of the responsibility then fell upon the Dorset Council. And it was pretty obvious that financially it was going to be a problem. Before all of that happened, at Dorset County Council, when I was on that, for 4 years, I chaired a small subcommittee that looked at the whole of the same sort of problem with the Ferndown Leisure Centre. And we, in inverted commas, privatised it as a district, as a Dorset County Council. We passed it over to a private company to run, and it was still then available to the public. The problem with this one is that I was interested to hear that it could be run at a profit of 250,000 instead of a loss of nearly 500,000. And I haven't been able to work that one out in my mind. But all we're being asked really is to support what's being done and suggesting to the Dorset Council that it is a community facility, not located in Wimborne. It's in the parish of Pamphill, but none the more for that. We would wish it to continue to be open and available for the use by the public. And all we've got to do is support it. And if it hasn't been seconded, I'm happy to.
It's been seconded, so we've had a second. All those in favour? Anybody against? No vote.
Chair, yeah, I don't know if it's recorded as a no vote or an abstention, but for obvious reasons, for discussions that go into the council, I need to keep my actions clear. Thank you.
Okay, that's good. So thanks very much for coming.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to stay.
I've had enough in Karen Parish Council. As a former councillor somewhere else. Cheers.
Right on this of him. Okay, so on item 7 now. So Dorset Police.
No, nothing from Dorset, please.
Okay. local organisations and partners. Councillor Wheeler.
I did, I just want to noted that I had to raise a police incident report, or raise an incident with the police last week due to some racially abusive graffiti. So it is something that I think we should probably ask the police to monitor in the town so that it doesn't get out of hand.
Hey, Councillor Richmond. You want to come in? No, okay, thank you very much. Any local organisation partners?
No, thank you. No.
So in terms of the town mayor, I do, I'm sure you all read it avidly, I do a little weekly blog, it's just a little paragraph about things that I've been involved with, so I think you can keep up to date on the council website. The sort of things I've been up to is, I went to the Armed Forces Day at the museum, I went to a charity tennis day for a man tragically died very young. I attended the opening of the Museum of Restorative Fate. I went to the Friends of Wimborne AGM and the festival Even Song. Do you want to say where about you went?
Yes. So I attended the civic service at Christchurch Priory, which was it was a very, very good service, I have to say, and in a lovely setting. And I also, for those of you that remember, last Thursday, it was very different weather to today, went to an open air screening of Pirates of the Caribbean at Shaftesbury. My Dunkirk spirit kicked in and I sat there, even though I was getting absolutely soaked, and watched the entire film, which I pleasantly enjoyed. It was such a shame. I just have to say a thank you to Shaftesbury Mayor and Deputy Mayor for hosting. They put significant effort into that being an amazing event, and it just got destroyed by the weather, so I do feel for them.
Thank you. And I've now decided to have a civic day on the 9th of April. I'm going to make them all do, we're doing a town trail to raise a bit of money. We go around Wimborne and follow clues, so I think I'll make them do that to make them time here. The final bit I just want to say is that we had the first mayoral walk. So this is a new thing that I lifted from Salisbury Council. So on a Sunday once a month, you can go on a free walk around Wimborne. We want to try and tie in a tree trail with this bill, but we had 65 people there at the first, so we're thrilled actually at the number that attended. So thanks very much to those who supported that. Okay, Dorset councillors. So shall I get to who first? So we've got a long agenda, David. Keep it brief.
I go implying, Mr. Chairman. I speak long. I'm usually have my half-past slot, but I'll leave it like it down. So very quickly, for some years now, there's been complaints from parents at Wimborne Middle that when the children come out of the back doors, they have to run the gauntlet of the cars that are parked this way or forward. They've now decided, at long last, that they're going to alter it so that there's going to be a walkway now, and as I read it correctly, the walkway will be in front of the cars. So they're going to alter the car park a little bit, so cars that park this way won't be affecting the walkway. It will be sort of, curved to stop them from going over that. That means that the children can then walk from along the walkway quite safely without having to dodge the car. Is he coming out? Is he not? Is she going to pass my car? Is she not? Waiting. So that will be something that been waiting to run out for some time. When it is going to start, I got the feeling that it was fairly well in the pipeline. So that's a good thing that we've managed to actually get.
Yes, Morgan.
So just a quick question there. Do we know whether it has any impact on number of parking spaces, or is it just a bit of a shift?
It's just a shift. It might use a couple, not too many. I think there's some minor alterations in the car park itself.
Yeah, we were concerned about a tree that you were just removed. So we'd rather you didn't remove the tree.
The point is, they're actually going to make it safe.
Yeah,
No.
Okay, we still have problems, of course, with vote speaking. And, like been that way a fair amount. I think one problem is that you do not know that you are, despite the fact you've got 3 yellow markings which say slow, 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 30 miles an hour. What you don't see is the houses. Because you've got all this greenery here, and it's not until you come to Bluebell Crescent that you suddenly realise, oops, I'm in a, built-up area. So we are discussing various things that we could do. It didn't help by the fact they removed the pavement on the left-hand side, which we argued about, as Kevin knows. So, he was with us all ages ago. So that's something. Something else which came up was the fact that cycling in the underpass. He was concerned that children were going to be in the underpass, the underpass. And there've been some near misses, obviously, for people. So it went to council. It doesn't quite come under the highways maintenance for some reason, but we'll have a look. First of all, see if there are no cycling notices. Let's look into the possibility of doing that. I suggested that perhaps a word with the school might help, telling children to be more careful, don't cycle through that and see the dangers of it. Another thing which will get you all excited is on Friday, August the 16th, is the big organisation. Big organisation is going to take part in the square conversation. The big conversation. Sorry, I'm so used to organising. The big conversation is going to take place on August the 16th in Wimborne Square. This is where members of the public can come along and discuss issues which they have. There will be officers there as well, the councillors, to help the councillors, and people will be asked if they wish to fill out yellow post-it notes, and there'll be various boards put around so that people can express their concerns as to the council. It's not just Wimborne, I think it's taking place in about 8 other situations. Partly they've had one already in Wimborne, which partly went very successfully. So there'll be a chance for people to go have their say. So that's something. That's August the 16th. I think it's from 9 till 2. So if you would like to come along, join it, we could. And just the final thing which came through today from our officer who's in charge of children's education, sadly who's leaving, but she was concerned about the Southport incident, which we've all heard about, and to make sure that if we had children's events, that perhaps there might be a little bit of extra protection around us to make sure. I think if the council would done the thing, they would make sure that people were there. Not that it's going to happen, but then it's not going to happen in Southport. No. So it was just something of her concern about anything that goes on. Because obviously we have a lot of children's activities going on. I think, Mr. Chairman, I think that was just 5 minutes. So,
yeah, well done.
There we go.
Thanks, Councillor Morgan. Councillor Bartlett.
Thank you, Chairman. Just report a few things on planning, domain planning. The Dorset Council have just approved its, I'm told it's 34th neighbourhood plan. We've got others in the pipeline currently. As you know, it's a huge amount of work for a parish or town council to take on, or for a community group to take on. They are proven to be hugely popular. The local plans, as you're aware, that the various local plans from predecessor authorities, district councils, borough councils, were all stopped when the new unitary authority went to be in. The only one that was allowed to progress was the perfect local plan, because hindsight being a wonderful thing, at that time we thought it was nearly over the line. It's turned out to be the second longest running local plan to be brought into being through the examiner. not Dorset Council's fault. There was various issues around it. There was issues with the examiner. One was taken ill and then one had to be appointed. And the government at that time were changing things as well in terms of statutory planning. That changes from central government around statutory planning hasn't ceased, as you will be aware. So the new Labour government's come in, continuing to change things within planning. We're still waiting for that detail to come down. And the problem that is for us is that we don't have a local plan currently in Dorset. We still have a draft one that we're developing. But until we have the information from this new government as to how they want us to form that local plan, everything's on hold at the moment. The problem with that is that, of course, our local plans that we're dealing with, if you take a look at East Dorset, it was adopted in 2014, it's now 10 years old, and the local plan carries less and less weight the older it gets, which leaves you at risk to speculative development. So we really do need to get on and bring forward this new local plan. I met with Councillor Andy Todd and did a walk around in Courtjack Park, looking at some issues that we've got down there around developers who need to put their section 106 infrastructure in place. Residents got a bit concerned that they didn't feel that infrastructure was going in. We met with several residents actually during a walk around, which was hugely beneficial. And what we need is we need residents to come forward on these new developments. If they've got a concern that section 106 infrastructure hasn't gone in, to inform us of that case, so that we can investigate that and get planning officers to deal with it, and if necessary, enforcement officers, usually have a softly approach to begin with. But first, I have the officer go back and check on the essential ones agreements that are quite reliant on residents that are moving into those new residential developments to inform us. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Is it acceptable that I read out Councillor Andy Todd's ward report as he sent it over? Is it outright?
Yeah.
So, Safer Spaces scheme. The leader of the local Girl Guides, Anna Troop, asked for his assistance introducing a Safer Spaces scheme currently operated by BCP into the Wimborne and Coal Hill area. The scheme, when travelling from Wimborne town centre to Poole bus station, the Girl Guides were briefed by bus company staff about the scheme. It provides children using a local bus network with approved locations where they can go to an event and feel themselves to be at risk, either due to unwanted sexual advances or bullying or anxiety. So Councillor Todd's tried to progress this. He's liaising with an officer to see if it can be incorporated into the Dorset Council recently approved public safety initiative. Regarding the Courtjack Park, it appears that work on phase 1 is almost complete, and anecdotally, occupation now exceeds 75%. Work on phase 2 is underway, and we understand that the construction traffic should be accessing the site via a separate route that minimises inconvenience. Residents have raised concerns related to a number of subjects, including the standard of the finish of the build, not matching what was promised, failure to restore the natural environment, question regarding site health and safety and legal liability, and a general concern that the developer is generally failing to comply with the 106 terms. So these have been flagged in person, by email and through social media. They've been referred to the relevant planning officer digitally and in person, and a second opinion from an experienced colleague to confirm the concerns was sought. So the line of communication has been established to ensure that this cascade of information is set up. It appears that the developer may have noted recent Dorset Council interest and has undertaken some superficial remedial work, and I think this is ongoing with Dorset Council. With regards to Lime Farm, residents from the housing surrounding Lime Farm land, recently the subject of an unsuccessful planning application, have expressed concern at the presence of contractors, including heavy machinery, operating on the site. It has been confirmed by planning that the developer is undertaking an ecological survey under appropriate supervision. The obvious conclusion is that the results of the survey would be passed as part of a robust rebuttal of the officer's concerns. The Aldi Canford Bottom planning application. A residents group has been made up of those living in and around the Canford Bottom, including concerned residents, businesses from further afield. Have begun organising a residents group to prepare themselves in case Aldi submit an application. Councillor Todd spoke to the group, will be liaising with the relevant DC officer and remain in communication with the interested parties. It was pointed out that Aldi were under no obligation to share commercially sensitive information. Wimborne Town Football Club. A resident expressed concern regarding the removal of covered bike rack that had been donated to the football club, but has since been removed by way of the storage containers. Councillor Todd wrote to the club at the residents' request, suggesting they might want to reconsider communicating with the residents, and this appears to have been done, and concludes to the residents' satisfaction. Hayes Lane. Residents have spoken to councillors regarding the number of safety and traffic management related concerns, which were communicated to Highways by Councillor Atwell, resulted in site safety service, slow road markings installed on the road. These are going to be monitored, possibility yellow lines and other mentions, other options may be incorporated. Changing the routing of the number 13 bus does not currently fall within the council's remit. Finally, in relation to vandalism, a member of Coal Hill Parish Council registered the irritation that 2 bus shelters had been vandalised and not been repaired within a reasonable amount of time. So that has been dealt with promptly. And all that Andy Todd asks is that members of the public do communicate with Dorset Council directly to report incidents like that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. Bring this up, mate. Before you go to council representatives for the organisation they're on, I should have said that Dorset Council has declared a nature emergency, which will run concurrently with the climate meteorological emergency that it declared back in 2019. So it's now declared a nature emergency as well. I think it's quite striking. I mean, I drove across Cranbourne Chase last weekend. No bugs in the windscreen, literally killing bugs in the windscreen, but we all remember back our childhoods and the amount of bugs used to have across the windscreen doesn't exist anymore. There's no butterflies in the hedgerows and the verges, no birds in the sky. And it was only the other day that I actually heard my first grasshopper in quite a considerable time. When I remember as a child walking in meadowlands, Saturday rings, there was constantly of noise from crickets and grasshoppers. So Dorset Council have declared that nature emergency.
So it's good that we've given the grant to Planning Wimborne tonight, isn't it?
Yes, the chair. Thank you for your indulgence.
Dorset councillors, in terms of your representation, does anyone want to report anything? Councillor Burt? And you're new.
Town council representation.
Town council.
Yeah, so.
No, nothing to report.
Nothing to add.
I do. As I'm representing both the twinning associations at the moment, I went to the Vallon Twinning Association the other day. They've got a president's picnic up on Pan Hill on the 11th of August. That is the most pressing thing coming up. Obviously, as you all probably know, we had 3 people come over on a private visit, and we've got another 2, I think, coming next month on a private visit. Also, on Wimborne in Blue, I went there, and I think they are to be commended on the baskets and the towers, which are now coming on a treat, seeing as how they had to go in late because of the folk festival. And they've also volunteered that they would help with the physic garden when and if we get it all together, basically. Okay.
Thank you. Just from me, Planning Wimborne are planning their Green Festival. They had a networking meeting last Wednesday at the museum. 30 people came from different groups, talked about what they're doing. So it was a good occasion for Planning Wimborne. And tomorrow night is the AGM in Town Hall, actually, here in Buckton Wimborne. Fair Trade, I go along to their meetings, and they're having a Fair Trade fortnight in September, another launch, trying to get more visitors to ethically look at what they're selling. Okay. Let's move on to item, the town clerk.
Very briefly, I'm sure some of you are aware that every month I meet online with other parish and town councils in the area with Dorset Council officers to talk about any agenda items that we want to bring forward. So one of the items that was discussed at a recent meeting was a market town strategy for all the market towns within the county, and they're looking for any market towns to come forward with some plans that support the development of the market town. It's in its infancy. I'm led to believe it's not competitive. Obviously, there are quite a few market towns within the county, and it's something that I'm going to refer to the Planning and Environment Committee to take forward, because I think we need to put some kind of either investment plan or a town-centric plan together with our local groups and organisations, especially people at the bid.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So item 8, full council minutes, 25th of June, received the minutes, the previous meeting, full council, 25th of June, correct record, Simon Mayor. Anybody got any comments on those minutes? Anyone want to propose or accept one? Councillor H. Councillor Richmond, I second that.
I don't have any comments, I'll just second anything.
Are you proposing? Are you proposing? Yeah.
I'll propose it, yes.
Yeah. Second that. Councillor Wheeler, all those in favour? Okay. Item 9. Committee minutes and working with meetings.
Yes, they are all for noting really, but any questions? Yeah.
Okay, so we just note those minutes of the meetings, the school council, town liaison group, planning environment, and the John working group. Okay, I'm now going to hand over to Councillor Morgan to take us through the finance and governance section.
Sure, thank you. Yeah, so I've, as usual, I've been over the bank statements and reconciliations. Everything looks fair and above board to me. So if somebody has picked up on some concerns I propose, we accept them.
Job to him.
Job to here. I'll just repeat the last bit.
Yes, so I've been through the bank receipts and the statements, and everything seems to reconcile to me. So I propose that we accept them as they are.
You need to vote on them.
He did propose and a seconder and a vote, yes.
Right, so
You need to sign them all off or anything on them.
So are you proposing?
Yes.
And seconder? Yes, councillor Wheeler, all those in favour? Thank you.
Derek, could you vote? Can we just check if Derek votes in?
Are you voting, Derek? Councillor Burke?
To be quite honest, I don't know which one we're talking about.
We're talking about 10.1. On page 305.
On the screen, Derek, if you need. Number 1, Roman 1.
Yeah, well, that's what I've not just considered through the bank statements and so on. It ran to so many pages, or lots of it. And that was at that point I was able to look at quite a bit of it on this laptop thing. So as far as I'm concerned, if you need my vote, I'll vote in favour.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
And let's see, John.
Yes, item 2 is to consider and note the income and expenditure report. I've had a look through, and I think I don't see anything particularly scary in what's happening against the budget. I think the only number which actually stood out was that we've overachieved on our income from weddings already this year, which I know it's early in the year, but.
And I'd like to thank Councillor Morgan for raising that, because the officer that really liaises about at the weddings has surpassed herself, and yes, we are 164%. No, not that one. We are over by 105%. So it bodes well for the end of the year.
it does, but I'm aware that most people would have been booked for summer, so it might come through at a lower rate for the rest of the year, but I think it's positive sign, always just when income goes up.
Should we write to Helen, thank you for all that? Yeah. Do that. Okay, and number 3?
Is everyone happy to show the income and expenditure report noted, or does anybody else have any questions on it?
Councillor Barber.
Question. Thank you. Just wondering, in terms of insurance at 4085, we're not expecting any more insurance to come in, I presume. We're all today going to be right.
Yes.
Okay. And professional fees, we budgeted 9,000, but I think 1,429. It's quite a bit of headroom there. And I'm assuming that we're fine with that.
I am expecting more expenditures come out of that budget heading because we have referred a few items to solicitors. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. And speak up. Councillor Morgan.
Do earmarked reserves. I mean, there's movement, but look.
Done the grants application. Number 5.
So this has come from me as the your responsible financial officer. You're aware that we changed our bank accounts. We were with NatWest. We had a bank card with NatWest, which was very useful for purchasing items that staff needed for in relation to anything to do with our budget. Obviously, we've had to close that bank card, and I'm asking for permission to apply for a Unity Trust bank card. And the appendix is attached that shows what the rates are. So that's the request, please.
So can I propose that? Do you want to second that? Councillor Richmond, all those in favour? Yes. Okay, and number 6. Have you?
Yes, so there's 2 documents that I'd like full council approval to adopt. The service level agreement, which we have not seen before, it's been with the solicitors, and the sponsorship protocol, which we have seen before. The solicitors have reviewed, and there's a few minor amendments to it, which I think I've highlighted in the. So I'd like to consider those 2 documents, please.
Okay. Councillor Morgan, anything you want to say?
I didn't see any issues with the service level agreement, but then I've not seen hundreds of them in my life, so I would welcome opinions from anybody else around the table. Presumably, it's a bit of a lift and shift from similar service level agreements that other councils
Yes, that's correct. And the idea behind the service level agreement is rather than go through a grant process where we have extremes in the amount we allocate through the budget, when we do the budget for the next financial year, we'll have a service level agreement line and then a separate grants budget line. So things like the citizens' advice will be a service level agreement set over 3 years. We'll also be looking at other suitable organisations if they provide a relevant service to do the same type of tenure and agreement. So that's the idea behind it.
Lots of evidence.
I think propose a second to adoption.
in which case I'm happy to propose this document, but this is subject to, I think, a future discussion, obviously in finance and governance around exactly who we're going to adopt under this service document.
Okay, we've got a seconder. Councillor Wheeler. That's so reliable. All those in favour? Good. Okay, and then number 7, which is.
Sorry, can we do the sponsorship protocol as well?
Sponsorship protocol. John, you have to propose that as well.
Well, I actually had a question around 6.4, but I think I noted 3 areas where text have been amended. I'm not entirely sure 6.4 makes any sense to me as a sentence.
So 6.4, the solicitor has basically taken out most of it and says the town council will grant
owned or controlled by the town council.
Will grant sponsor, I think the word sponsorship is missing. I think there's a couple of words missing, yes, you're right, there's some words missing.
So I think,
Are you happy for me to bottom that out with the solicitor?
I personally am, but, I don't think it's just me who decides.
Do you want to bring that back?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, and then number 7, previous noticeable expenditure from community infrastructure levy reserves.
So we had some agreed expenditure from our SIL monies previously. I've done a little summary on Appendix 17 that shows what we've spent so far and how the money's been used. When we did some work last year about how to use that SIL money, the use of upgrading the notice boards was put on there. So what I'm asking council to consider is whether we can use our SIL money for this, rather it comes out of our general reserves.
Sounds sensible. Anybody want to comment? Councillor Bartlett?
Yeah, Chairman, I think that's a sensible suggestion. It is that SIL money is there to provide infrastructure, benefit the community. So I think it's a good call by the clerk. Yeah, thank you. Do you need a proposer?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I have to propose that, Chairman.
Thank you. And the second that. Councillor Billington, second. All those in favour?
Thank you.
Okay, note card payments from 1st of April to 3rd of June 2024.
So this is a new process that our internal auditors have recommended. So you can see when we have used the NatWest Bank card, what it has been used for from the 1st of April to date. And at future meetings, we'll obviously give you an updated list. And it's for noting. If anybody's got any questions, I'll take them, so I can answer them.
Okay, thank you very much. Item 11, Councillor Bartlett, do you want to work with town clerk on these items? Talk us through them.
Or do you want me to go through them? Thank you. So, item 1 under recreation and local buildings, there was a piece of work that Kevin has carried out, which is the signage review of Redcott's as a site in its entirety. There's an appendix that shows, having reviewed the site, but Kevin went with Glenn and they had a look around the site. There's some signage requests and the map shows where we'd like to put them. So it's just authorisation to spend the money and put them up as indicated in the report.
Probably sensible, Bartlett. Sounds like a sensible idea.
A long time overdue, Chairman. We haven't done much around the signage on any of the recreation grounds. And there are some significant issues with the ones down at Live Park, some of the signage down there.
So you're proposing that? Seconder? Councillor Morgan, all those in favour? Yeah.
Can I just say, I think that's incredibly good value for money. So how do we get to be quite as low cost as that?
We shop around.
It's very good.
Okay. Number 2.
So, Kevin and I have worked on updating the risk assessment for the town hall. It's gone through all the staff. There's some sections highlighted in yellow, which we're still bottoming out. We need to check through our insurance company that they're right. But in principle, what I'm asking for is to note and approve the risk assessment for the town hall. And I've noticed there is a couple of spelling mistakes on one of the pages.
Any comments? You want to propose in second?
Please, yes.
So proposal for shall I propose the risk assessment and accept it? Anybody second? Councillor Bartlett, all those in favour?
Right, so I'm going to abstain. I've not been able to read or look at appendix 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. I gave up on the number of times I tried to get in on that computer. So not being able, not having looked through those appendix, I just find it very difficult to vote on something.
That's very understandable.
But I'm sure everybody else has had it and has read it, but I haven't. And I find it therefore very difficult to just keep putting my hand up for the sake of it being unanimous.
I think the solution is that Gary's trying to organise with Gary, our events liaison officer, who's our IT support, that there's a process to go through with regards to a phone app, getting the verification code and putting it in. So that's what we need to do. And I can actually have a go with you after the meeting.
Today, I've done that 3 times. I had 3 different codes. And that still doesn't let me go through. I put the code in and they still.
Can we have a look at the end of the meeting?
Yeah,
That's all right.
so then the meeting. Okay, 11.3, the Shared Prosperity Fund community grant applications for the new boiler and how we're going to replace the record.
So council may be aware that we applied to the Shared Prosperity Fund to support the updated boiler at the pavilion at Redcoats, and it wasn't successful. So what I'm asking is permission for us to go away, do some work and come back with some quotes, because I don't think we'll get away with that boiler for much longer.
No. Well, I think we're all happy to do that work. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, community events and liaisons, so to consider a purchase of a portable PA system for outside events. Appendix 21, Lou?
So there was a little bit of feedback following the lighting of the beacon for the 80th anniversary event. I think you can remember that we had a very noisy old generator and a PA system. So Gary's gone away and done some work, and basically we can get a speaker system that's on a battery life. All the specs contained in the appendix 21, and it's considering whether you want to purchase a portable PA system, and if you do, which one you'd like to go for.
Okay, any comments? Councillor Richmond.
Thanks, Chairman. My comment was that we consider in the middle one did have the potential for including a microphone, and maybe we should consider whether that's going to be a useful, and that was the only one of the 3 quotes, that might be a useful additional thing that once we've got, we thought was a fantastic add-on, so maybe we need to think of that up front.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Bartlett.
No expert in this, obviously, Chairman. Fully support that we buy the PA system, but I would also hope that we'd lend it out to charities that in the town that have events within the town. It's our community spirit. I think we should be embracing.
What's a bit weird is whether you're all looking up all the time. It's like you're looking to heaven. During this meeting. Okay, so proposer. Propose.
Happy to propose it, Chairman. Yeah, as I said, if we're minded to also loan it to charity organisations within the township.
Good idea, I think, yeah.
Thank you.
Are we proposing the second one? It's got wheels on it, which makes it quite useful to move around as well. So,
Councillor Bartlett.
I suspect that our officer, Gary Mason, is probably the go-to one with knowledge around this sort of thing. So I'm happy to, if he considers that number 2 option, if Councillor Richmond's happy with that,
check with Gary.
then I propose that one. Yeah, thank you.
Good. Mr. Councillor Billington's seconded that. So all those in favour? Yeah. Okay, good. Cemetery. To know the activity report from 1st of April to 30th of June. And it's 22.
what I think is interesting is the amount of non-resident activity that still takes place. And then Wimborne obviously take up about 50%, sometimes 3/4, but yeah, just for information purposes, I'm noting it. Yeah.
The second point is about the 40 original burial registers.
So, yeah, so I'd I've been asked by archives at Dorset Council to minute a request that went in from the office that we've basically gone to archives for the original burial records that go back to the start of the cemetery, because we're doing a process at the moment of digitalising everything, and we identified that there was approximately 4,000 records missing off our current system. So we needed to fill that gap. So what I'm looking for is just a resolution to support 13.2, propose and seconder.
Okay, I'll propose it. All those in favour? To keep the records in. Okay, and item 14. So this is a motion of Councillor Richmond. It was really about the timelines for the withdrawal period for nominees for the recent nomination election process managed by Dorset Council. So, Bill, do you want to say a word about that?
Thank you, Chairman. Or rather water under the bridge now. When the applicants originally had to get their forms in, I think it was 4 p.m. on the Friday, particular Friday, and the date for the election was announced for August the 8th. And by an amazing coincidence, the deadline for withdrawal of applications was 4 p.m. on the same Friday. So that raised queries. I wondered why the August the 8th was set, giving no opportunity for withdrawals, because I had in mind really that we had 8 applicants for 7 vacancies, and one of the residents might have been quite eager to say, yeah, I don't mind stepping down. Perhaps you could consider me for co-option at a later date, but that would have saved the council money. So really it hinged on the decision for the August the 8th. It's just unfortunate because obviously nobody had an opportunity to withdraw. So as I say, water under the bridge, not a lot we can do about it now. And unfortunately, the residents are set for an election that perhaps they are pretty fed up of now.
Okay, thank you.
Depends if Councillor Richard wants to raise anything, basically. Do you want to put a request into anyone, or do you want to raise anything? Or is it just for negative? Is there any action you want as a result of your motion?
No, I don't think so. It was very clear when you contacted that they told you, I think 15 working days. And when I contacted them, they said 19 days. They missed out the working. And of course, that was all written. So therefore, I responded to you and said it's 19 days, which meant that we'd got another week to allow for applications, withdrawal applications. So it's all by the by really now. I don't think there's anything. I'm sure the Dorset Council fixed on the 8th for a reason. Gets it out of the way and we are where we are. So nothing really we can do.
Okay, let's move on to item 15.2. This is to confirm Dorset Council will see the nomination from Friends of Wimborne Library for the library to be registered as a community value in the Part 5, Chapter 3 of the Local Implement 2011 in the assets of community value in and regulation 2012. They're going to be decided by the 27th of August. Dorset, whether the nominated asset is properly nominated as in Dorset Council's area, meets the definition of a community asset and is not excluded from nomination by the legislation. Lou, can you explain this?
Not really. So basically, there's a process to go through, and I'm assuming that it will be nominated again as an asset of community value as it was before, as there's no change in the status, but they just need to follow the process.
Councillor Roberts.
Chairman, can I just ask that they get their computers right? I go in every week on a different day, their computers are down since they put the new system in.
All right. Okay, make out for that. To note a letter of thanks from Citizen Advice, East Dorset and Purbeck. Thanks very much for that.
They're just confirming their thanks for the grants.
Right, yeah. And then are there any mentions for the next meeting that we want to request now? Anything you think we really need to talk about in the next meeting? No?
When you're talking about, Chairman, talking about a meeting on the 3rd,
It's
13th or 20th.
20th.
Speak into the mic and then.
It's going to be the 20th.
Well,
Will that meeting deal with allocating, setting up committees and a structure.
Yes, yes, it was. So we've got two possible dates, 3rd and 20th. I'm in Finland on the 13th, so I prefer to be on the 20th.
Well, that's all right, unless we can commute. Long time since I've been to Finland.
Okay, and
Just, yes.
I wouldn't mind us having a review of the road closures and the impact on the town. The road closure
On the agenda.
on the agenda, yeah. I've already spoken to the bid. It's just really to have a look. It's not to have a go at anybody, it's not to do anything. It's just for us to understand the impact when we close a major arterial road in the town. Now that we're a lot busier than we used to be, just so that we can maybe feedback a little bit, maybe find a better way if there is.
They are going to be a major closure, aren't they, very soon?
Yeah, Allen View Road.
Yeah.
The last one, that, the chairman,
Councillor Burt, yeah.
is that just temporary closures?
It's 5th of August to 30th of August for gas works on the road from Allen View up to here.
So you're not suggesting we object to that?
No, I'm suggesting that we review the impact of it on the town so that we understand what it does to the economy of the town.
And just finally, just to say that we've got new councillors coming on board. I think so. So I've been talking with Lou and with Councillor Wheeler, and we are going to put in place some training, some induction. I'm going to ask you, would you like to mentor one or two of them, so that they didn't sort of suddenly go to these meetings unprepared. The other bit I think is that what we don't do is sort of do anything sort of socially. So I've suggested, and I want to get your feedback really, that once everyone's been elected and stuff, we have like a fish and chip supper or some sort of social event. So we're not going through all the business. We just are there for a pleasant evening. Everyone's a good idea? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay, so I declare the meeting closed at 8:30.